Dave Simon and his co-hosts are completing the remaining finishing touches for tonight's episode. If you are watching the replay, you can skip to the 4-minute and 54-second mark to get to Dave's intro. While you are waiting, watching live, take a look at the news and articles about pro wrestling and MMA from The Authority, the Ringside Report Network. Our website is at ringsidereport.net. That's ringsidereport.net.
Please wait. Hold on. Keep waiting. Almost done. 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 Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Please wait. Hold on. Keep waiting. Almost done. 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 Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment.
Welcome to today's broadcast from the Ringside Report Network. We are a viewer and listener-supported creative team. We would really appreciate it if you became a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. While you are waiting, watching live, take a look at the news and articles about pro wrestling and MMA, and while there, check out our exclusive merch, including great Jiu-Jitsu gear from the Ringside Report Network. Our website is at ringsidereport.net. It's ringsidereport.net.
Subscriber is speaking at the moment.
The UFC in Azerbaijan this weekend will preview the fights. UFC BJJ, a Jiu-Jitsu league, has begun, and controversy in Atlanta for the UFC.
Let's go!
Yeah, that was a weird one. Freddie is here. No AJ. AJ, I think, took an illegal upkick and is pretending to be hurt. That's why he's not here on the show. I think that's what AJ's doing. He saw Bellotto do it on the weekend, and he figured, this is a trend. I'm going to jump on board.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Fred, I'm not hearing that. There you go.
That kick was illegal, definitely, but the reaction was like completely ridiculous. Did Dana comment on it? What did Dana say about it?
I don't think Dana was there to comment on it afterwards, so I don't think we've heard Dana talk about it. It was embarrassing. Hadalfa Bellotto fought Paul Craig last weekend, took an illegal upkick to the face, and then kind of fell back, and he looked like for a second he was like going to look to the referee like, yo, did you see that he just gave me that illegal kick? And then he acted like it knocked him unconscious. He like flung back and was like, and then he was like, did he pretend to do a seizure too? Like he seemed like he was seizing up, but it was the fakest. I've seen a lot of pro wrestling, and I know when you're good at selling and when you're bad at selling. Hadalfa Bellotto has no chance in the WWE.
So he better be working on his MMA skills.
Yeah. He didn't even get the win by disqualification. He got a no contest out of it, which is not great. He said, he wasn't pretending to be hurt.
Well,
he was really hurt.
It was an illegal shot, and it was a pretty decent kick. Like I could see it doing some damage, but his reaction was ridiculous.
Nobody reacts like that. He looked like he was trying to milk it.
I mean, if he would have just went down and said, like, I can't continue, nobody would have said nothing probably, because it was still like an illegal strike to the face. But it's the way he reacted, the way he jumped and all, man, that made it. Come on, man, what are you doing?
Yeah. And it just looks bad. It just looks bad for everybody when you see fighters doing that in the UFC. It's supposed to be the top level. It's supposed to be professional. And you're seeing guys act like that, trying to, game the system, use a foul to get a win, possibly. And it didn't even work. No contest. You don't get anything out of that. Nobody gets paid out of that, too, which also sucks, by the way, that, I think a no contest means nobody wins. Means the UFC only pays you your show money. You probably don't get your win money. They might have given win money to Paul Craig. I don't think they would. I don't think they're giving anybody their win money there. So it winds up being a cheaper fight for the UFC, right? They have a certain budget for that fight, but if nobody wins, I don't think anybody gets paid.
And it's not like MMA is not like a team sport like in soccer or basketball. You try to draw a foul or whatever. Like MMA, people will know like that drawing a foul is just dumb. Because I mean, take the example of Jon Jones and Matt Hamill. Everybody knows like Matt Hamill didn't really win that fight, even though the record books say he won that fight. So it's the same thing. Like if you get a cheap win like that, like people are not gonna acknowledge it for real.
Yeah, and Matt Hamill, whatever, he was getting beat up viciously. He took some illegal elbows, technically, and the referee stepped in and was like, that's illegal, disqualification win for Hamill. Hamill didn't do anything there. Bellotto, he sold it like he got killed. It was nuts. So he didn't pick up a win. AJ had him on his parlay. Everybody on AJ's parlay either lost or were Hadalfa Bellotto, AJ's parlay didn't work. My parlay won last week. which is nice. Always nice when the Team Dave parlay wins. It was Michael Chiesa over Court McGee. Got that to win for me. It was Chiesa won a unanimous decision. It was who else did I pick? Oh, Raoni Barcelos over Cody Garbrandt, because of course. And Barcelos won by decision. Have we ever seen anybody fall off from champion this hard like Cody Garbrandt?
Henan Barao, remember?
Yeah, but Barao, like, after he lost the belt, he kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. I think he stopped fighting. Garbrandt has just had this long run of mediocrity after hitting his peak. Like, he peaked in 2016. He was pretty young. He's only 33. Since 2016, when he was 11-0, beating bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz to become the champion. Since that time, he started 11-0. He has gone 3-7 in the past 9 years. 3-7 over his last 10 fights. This guy was 11-0, top of the world, 3-7. Those TJ Dillashaw fights took his soul. He lost to TJ Dillashaw by knockout twice in a row. Never the same. I feel bad for him. Like, when I see him fight, I'm like, oh, Cody Garbrandt still trying.
I mean,
you know, it's like, damn, man.
I mean, yeah, that's MMA. You know, like, for example, this week I saw a post going like Junior Dos Santos was like, I think he was like out of the top 10 fights where guys get hit the most, Junior Dos Santos was in 3 or 4 of them. And, you know, like, once he got beat up, those bad beatings, his career went downhill also. So it might be that with Cody Garbrandt, you know, those beatings to Dillashaw were pretty intense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sometimes these guys don't come back the same from a fight.
And it wasn't just the beating, but there was a pretty heated rivalry, right? There were once teammates of Team Alpha Male. They had broken off, and they were, you know, there was like a real rivalry, kind of like with Junior Dos Santos and Cain Velasquez. You know, like the beatings that JDS took from Cain, there was a real rivalry there too. Junior had won the first fight. They fought twice more after that. They did the trilogy, and Junior just took vicious beatings in the second and third fights. And with Dillashaw and Garbrandt, it's like they were teammates, they were friends. Dillashaw left the camp. They were then rivals. And, you know, Garbrandt is on top of the world, still at Team Alpha Male world champion. Here comes TJ Dillashaw and beats him, knocks him out. They do it again, and it's the same result. And, yeah, Garbrandt hasn't come near championship level since. And he loses again on Saturday night. It is what it is, man. Guy's a fighter. He likes to fight. He's doing what he wants, but
I mean, it's the reality.
It's weird. You don't see it very often, right? In the UFC?
Well, maybe, but I would say, like, guys that lose the championship, like, if they don't win it back quick, they're rare, the ones that win it back. Like, what guy, like, lost the championship, fought for, like, 3-4 years, and then win it back? Like, you know, once they're not at the top no more, they're pretty much, like, going downhill, unfortunately.
Yeah, but with Garbrandt, I feel like it's different because he was young when he lost the belt, and he still had time. Like, he's only 33 now. So that means he was, he was, 24 when he won the championship 9 years ago? 24, you know? It's a rough run, man. He's had a rough run.
But I don't know.
From the age of 24 to 33, in 10 fights, he went 3-7 after winning the championship.
Think, like, it seems that the whole Team Alpha Male is not as dominant as it once was. You know, like, there was a time where they had all the lower weight classes, a bunch of guys. Uriah, TJ Dillashaw was there, Cody Garbrandt, Ricardo not Ricardo Lamas. I'm trying to remember. Anyways, there was a bunch of guys like from that team that we saw.
Yeah.
And now they're like unknown. Well, they're not as present. You know, who are the big guys from Team Alpha Male these days?
I don't know. Do they still have guys in the UFC? I don't know. It felt like that camp revolved around Uriah Faber, and then once Uriah Faber kind of stopped fighting, most of those guys disappeared. MMA gyms don't last forever. We've seen so many teams that were once dominant come and go. Nothing lasts forever in MMA. Like that Greg Jackson, Mike Winklejohn gym, everybody was coming out of there for a time, and now you never hear about them ever. You know, even TriStar. They're still around. There's still guys fighting from TriStar. Ayman Zahabi, but it's not like it was in the UFC at one time.
I mean, you're dealing with like top level athletes and all. Like there must be like some, you know, little animosity or whatever. Like it must be hard to keep a good gym going for several years like that. So the big teams like let's say American Top Team and all that, where they have like a bunch of fighters, props to them, man.
Yeah. They also have a very rich guy in Dan Lambert bankrolling the whole thing. That helps too. But, you know, you have the Pat Miletich camp, the Lions Den, the Ken Shamrock camp, Hammer House with, you know, Mark Coleman. Like, it just...
What was Anderson Silva and Nogueira? What was that called?
Well, there was Team Nogueira.
Black House was in there?
There was Black House MMA afterwards in California. A lot of guys were at Black House. But then there was Shoot the Box, too. The Brazilian Shoot the Box, where Shogun and Anderson and Vanderlei, like, they all came from there. Big team. You don't hear from them anymore. Although, is Charles Oliveira maybe Shoot the Box? I think he might be. It's like new generation Shoot the Box from Brazil. And, of course, my parlay didn't just have Barcelos. It didn't just have Chiesa. It also had Kamaru Usman as my big underdog pick. Whenever I had Kamaru Usman as an underdog, I'm going with him because he's Kamaru freaking Usman. And he won. A unanimous decision. Sound victory over Joaquin Buckley. Looked good. Looked like his normal self, Kamaru Usman. And, yeah, I mean... Kamaru was 20-1 before losing to Leon Edwards. He fought Leon. He won most of the fight. He got caught at the end with a head kick. Fought Leon again. Lost a close decision. Then he fought Khamzat Chimaev on short notice at 185, above his weight class, and lost a close decision. And then didn't fight for like a year and a half. But I expected him to come back, look strong. I thought he was a really good test for Buckley, who was surging, who was on a win streak, who was more active. But I thought that it was a test that Buckley wouldn't be able to rise to. I didn't think that he was going to be able to beat Usman. I thought the power would kind of disappear as the fight went on. Usman's a championship-level fighter, and he got the job done. So I'm happy for Kamaru Usman, and this puts him right back into title shot conversation. So really good for Kamaru. I never doubted him. The odds makers were doubting him. AJ was doubting him, but I had him on Team Dave, and he completed my parlay, which is always nice. But more than that, I think it's really nice to see him, you know, former champion, doubted by a lot of people. Odds makers see him as an underdog to Buckley, comes in and shuts everybody up, reminds everybody who he is. That's Kamaru Usman. I also like he had Francis Ngannou right there with him in his corner at the weigh-ins. I thought that was pretty cool. Kamaru can bring Francis around, and no one's saying anything. What are they going to do? Bringing Francis all over the UFC? Fantastic. I love that. I think it's great. So good for Kamaru, and I think winner of Jack Della and Islam against Kamaru Usman, I'm down for that. And I don't doubt Kamaru in that fight either. I think he could win those fights. I think those are winnable fights for Kamaru Usman.
Definitely, man. Look, the guy is one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Mm-hmm. I'll have GSP first, but Usman probably number 2. And, he lost to Khamzat. a lot of people lose to Khamzat, and it's not his weight class. So yeah, he's right in the discussion. Like that win puts him in title contention, and if Islam wasn't there, he'd probably be next right away because Jack versus Usman would be a great fight also. So yeah, I'm down for. Have they announced when Islam and Jack Delana is happening?
I don't think they've announced the date. It is going to be that's the fight, but they haven't said when yet. I don't think.
So hopefully this gets done pretty soon, and Usman doesn't have to wait too long. Like, hopefully they could do Jack versus Islam within like in September, and Usman gets the winner maybe in December or something. That'd be decent.
I think the word is October, November, and it might be the Madison Square Garden show in November for Jack Della versus Islam. So if Usman gets a title shot, it'd probably be early 2026. Fine with me.
I mean, he's a veteran. He could take the time off probably, I think. It would make sense.
So, nice win for Kamaru Usman last weekend in Atlanta. Jon Jones did an interview this week where he said, I wouldn't call it retirement, but I'm not really thinking about fighting. And if I get the itch to come back and fight, then maybe I will, but I'm not really into it. He's retired.
He is.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? I think it might be better like that because, Jon Jones is already a guy that doesn't always train at the, he likes to party and all that. And now I don't want to see a Jon Jones that's not motivated also. So you know what, man? Take some time off. If you come back in a year or whatever, okay, just vacate the title. I read this week, Jon Jones is at 59 days away from beating Cain Velasquez record for the title ring. So, let's give Jon Jones some props. He's going on over 800 days as champion.
Mm-hmm. Who would you rather have as your longest reigning heavyweight champion? A man in prison or Jon Jones?
A man in prison or a man that should be in prison?
By the time Jones breaks the record, he may also be in prison. I mean, this guy without any kind of aim or goal could be rough.
I'm joking around, but seriously, Cain is more decorated as a heavyweight. As much as Jon Jones is the greatest of all time as far as the heavyweight division, he only has one win against Cyril and one win against Stipe. So yeah, I'm still gonna go with Cain as the greatest champion of heavyweight UFC history.
And despite the fact that he's going to prison for a bit for shooting a guy, he's probably still a better man than Jon Jones somehow.
Definitely.
What the MMA is crazy, man. You never know who you're going to get. Oh, free Cain. What's the deal with Cain?
I don't know. Didn't he get 3-4 years? How many years did he get? And he's going to...
But is he in prison right now?
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh.
Pretty sure he is.
Is Cain Velasquez in prison now?
ChatGPT.
Oh, no. He's apparently...
Oh, he's out?
He's on house arrest.
Oh,
He's been out of jail since November.
Nice.
But I thought he was sentenced to 5 years in prison in March. I don't know. Maybe not. Hold on. I got something from April. He's not. He's in prison. Right?
I'm asking ChatGPT. It's the best, man.
They don't know.
Yes, Cain Velasquez is currently serving a prison sentence.
Yeah.
On March 24th, he received a 5-year prison sentence. He got 1,200 days of credit, so he has 542 days left. He's been housed in California prison system, initially Wasco State Prison, then transferred to Soledad State Prison.
Well, free Cain. Rose Namajunas beat Miranda Maverick, too, last weekend, so that was nice. Nice win for Thug Rose. Still at it, still getting wins. I thought she would win
Good for
too.
her.
AJ was doubting. AJ's not here tonight. Angelo's in the chat. Johnny North in the chat. They're wondering where AJ is. And AJ is, I don't know. He's not here. He couldn't make it tonight because of reasons. He's faking an injury.
I think he's celebrating in some strip club.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Some remote location strip club.
His kid graduated, and AJ's old, so that means what? His kid graduated university?
You would hope. AJ is extremely old. He is, 75 now? It's crazy. Looks good for 75.
Like that.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. Looks pretty good for 75. Okay. We are on YouTube. I just checked our YouTube chats. I've been watching a show on YouTube called UFC BJJ Road to the Title.
To the title.
Yeah. You sent me this, and you're like, look at this. And I've been watching it. And when you sent me the link, I was like, oh, this is like, because I see Mikey Musumeci and then another guy. So I thought it was like a countdown show because those two guys are going to fight for a championship. But that's not what this is. It's like an ultimate fighter for jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I've been liking it.
Yeah. It's not bad. Like, I don't need all the background on the guys. You know, like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I agree. But it's still, like, for a first season, and I'm down with it. But, yeah, like, this is probably, like, the Ultimate Fighter. You ask me, like, if they do that for 3, 4, 5 years in a row, I'll probably lose a little interest. But right now, they're doing it to crown champions. So that's the cool part, where at the end of this season, we're going to have a champion at 155 and a champion at 170. And also, Mikey Musumeci will fight for a title against, what's his name, his opponent?
Yeah.
Brazilian.
The other guy.
And his, some weird name there.
The guy that's going to
yeah.
lose to Mikey Musumeci.
You know what,
Right?
man? If I'm going to say one thing that, all right, so get ready to call me a bad person, Dave.
Wow.
Like, if one thing that bothers me a little bit is that the other guy doesn't speak English, okay?
He does
So it
speak
kind of-
English.
He doesn't really speak English.
Well, he
But-
sometimes
so-
speaks Portuguese, but sometimes he's speaking English. He does like half
So
and
I
half.
feel it's almost unfair because when the guys are fighting, Mikey's always like super loud, like, yeah, good. But the other team is super quiet. It feels like there's another guy that speaks English, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's the coach. That's one of his assistant coaches.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, I'm wondering, like, for example, in that episode 2, I think that might have influenced the judges, where Mikey was like super hyped. That was a close fight between Kirk Krikorian and who was the other guy?
Yeah, the
Back
gi
then.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good fight. That was a tight
Yeah.
fight. Look,
It was
maybe
good.
that guy won, man, but it was a tight fight, man. So
I thought the guy who won. Like
Carlos Enrique.
Yeah, I
Right?
thought.
no, that was
no.
no, it's Isaac Doderlin.
Yeah. I thought he won because he won the first
Okay.
round and he won the third round. I had him winning.
It was tight. That third
You
round
didn't
was
have him
tight,
winning?
I felt. I had him winning the first round, but that third round could have went any way, man. I felt.
He was attacking more. I like that he was attacking the legs. It's different for jiu-jitsu. Like, it's very high intensity because it's 3 5-minute rounds, right? So you really have to go.
That's intense. Yeah.
It's super intense, man. Like, it's a long fight, but it's also like, yo, you have to really go for it and look to get, because it's judged on, submission attempts and just aggression. So you really have to be very aggressive in your jiu-jitsu. Very intense.
So here's my question for you. So I'm loving this UFC BJJ thing. I hope it develops and all. So let's say like Mikey Musumeci, BJJ. How many fights a year should he be having?
Tons.
Yeah, I feel like they should be fighting every 2 months at least.
More.
At least, man.
More.
Even more, yeah.
Brother.
Who cares if you lose
Once a
some,
month.
man? Just be active.
Once a month, bro. Like, we need to make jiu-jitsu more like pro wrestling, where you fight once, maybe once a week, maybe once a month. Like, I mean, it's jiu-jitsu. You're not getting hit in the head. Stay active. And if you can't do it, well, then you fall out. And the guys that can, they do it. And those are the guys that survive, and those are the guys that compete. Because the more you see a person, the more you get to know them, the more you care about them, and the more you care about the sport. You got to make stars to make a sport. And jiu-jitsu doesn't really have stars. They don't have a league. They don't even have a unified rule set. All the big events for jiu-jitsu are like 3 days of 10 hours each that you got to watch to follow anything. You know what I mean? Like, jiu-jitsu, the way it's presented to an audience is not palatable. So you got to find a way to make it better for people that want to watch it. And there are ways to do it. I think, honestly, you got to start cutting promos. And you got to get guys that are there, cut promos before your match, say some things, do your match. Like, you have to have like a pre-fight or a post-fight like live interview where you're saying things so we know who you are, so we know what you sound like before you go out and fight. That has to be mandatory. I think, just like in the back. Okay, you're about to fight here later. What do you, just little, 2-minute thing. You need one of those. You need shorter shows, and you need these guys fighting often, man. They need to fight all the time.
Yeah, I agree on the fighting. The TV show kind of has this. You had two guys, the guy from Texas, the other guy goes, I'll tap him in 30 seconds. And he's like, there's no way he's going to tap me in 30 seconds. He tapped pretty quick still. It wasn't 30 seconds, but now I agree. They need to fight more. Like, I don't feel like for a BJJ fight, guys should be having like a 2-month training camp. I feel like, it should be, BJJ should be treated more like almost like a sports league, where guys are just facing each other throughout the years. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe you do a playoff system with it or whatever, but they need to be active, man. I want to see these guys completely active. And you talk about the stars. That might be another thing. Like the UFC at the 155 division, 5 of the 8 guys are ranked very high. But at the 170 division, they only have Andrew Tackett that's ranked in the top 15. All the other guys are a little bit unknown. So that might be also an issue. But yeah, like you create stars is by them being active, man. Them being putting submissions, putting shows. That's how you're gonna build the brand. So I really hope these guys are gonna be active, fighting multiple times a year.
Yeah, I think they gotta fight a lot. I think you gotta treat jiu-jitsu less like MMA and more like a regular sport where, sometimes you win against some, if you're really good, you're going to win most of your matches. But once in a while, you'll lose. And you may lose to somebody that really has no business beating you. But it's just, time and place, and these things happen. And if you're competing regularly, I think that's what should be happening. In jiu-jitsu, you get caught, guys pull off moves that you weren't expecting, you tap. And I think, honestly, if guys are competing more, they're going to be more, and they know, I have to compete here, 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 here. I've got a contract that says I have to compete this many times, and if I don't do that, then my contract pushes, and I got to stay in the league and whatever, and I can't renegotiate for a better deal. So the incentive is to fight often. And if your incentive is to fight often, and somebody has you in a heel hook, you're going to tap. You're not going to go, oh, let me ride this out, and then my knee's going to shatter, and then I'm out for 6 months, and I can't compete, and this and that. No, you're going to tap. And you tapping is going to keep the sport exciting because, hey, maybe if you were fighting to the death, this guy wouldn't catch you. But he caught you. You're in trouble, so you tap. You're not going to fight it too hard because in 2 weeks you got another one. I think that makes a lot of sense. We do jiu-jitsu all the time. We know, you could do it. You could do it often. You're not taking blows to the head. If everybody's doing it, if you're the only guy competing every weekend, yeah, okay. But if everybody in the league is competing often, then you're on a level playing field.
like we talk about it in MMA where we find some guys are not active enough. And like remember the early days of MMA, there was less money and guys were active. Guys were fighting 3-4 times a year because they didn't have a choice. That's how they made money. So yeah, the jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna keep an eye on that. That's the aspect maybe I'll be the most interested in following. Is I hope the UFC really builds something where these guys are active, treated like other sports, like tennis, golf, or whatever. There's a tournament every week. Like
Yeah.
sometimes guys will take a tournament off. Okay, like I have no problem with that. Like if a guy needs a break or whatever, no problem. But if he's healthy, man, be active, man. Fight every month.
And they need to keep it fun, too. They need to do tournament format. They need to do super fights. Like, certain events should be like, okay, it's King of the Octagon, and we're doing a tournament here in this weight class. And then next week we'll do a super fight, and then another super fight, and a championship bout, and then a title eliminator. You know, you got to book it in ways like have a 2-hour show, have a league with a roster, and book it like pro wrestling. Not over the top, not crazy, not fake, but like this match, this match, this match, this week, and then next week we'll do this. And then if these guys win here, then it'll build to this, and then we could make a story out of that. Like, there are ways to do it. You could do tournaments in jiu-jitsu. You could do super fights. You could do team events. You could do quintets once in a while. There's all sorts of things you could do. There's different rule sets. There's different ways to do it. You could do Jiu-Jitsu Survivor Series. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things you could do. Yeah. So hopefully the UFC gets it together. I think they have the best opportunity. They have the best shot. Like, you know what I mean? ADCC, IBJJF, like, they're geared towards finding out who's the best. They're not really geared towards entertaining fans. The people that buy tickets and that buy the streams are like hardcore jiu-jitsu people that are going to do it anyways. You're not bringing in new people. You're not bringing in like a casual audience. There are no casuals in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody who follows jiu-jitsu and like knows a bunch of guys, like the big names, and they're like kind of halfway into it. Like, if you know a bunch of pro jiu-jitsu people, you're pretty hardcore into jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people that don't know anything about MMA that can name you a bunch of MMA fighters. Those people couldn't name you any jiu-jitsu guys. They couldn't name you Gordon Ryan or Mikey Musumeci. You know what I mean? Because jiu-jitsu doesn't try to bring in, like, the mainstream. But the UFC might try and do it. This is a good show. It works for the ultimate. Like, MMA really blossomed off the Ultimate Fighter. This is what they're trying to do with this show. It's an Ultimate Fighter for jiu-jitsu. I'm watching.
I got a lot of hope for it, man. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah. I mean, we both like jiu-jitsu, right? You watch it more than I do because I find it hard to watch. Because it, takes forever. And a lot of the matches aren't that entertaining. I like this format with the UFC with the 5-minute periods because you really have to go. It rewards
maybe,
aggression.
but I'll tell you what, man. Like, I watch a lot of these events, and some of these fights usually are 8 minutes long, and now 3 5-minute rounds with a minute off. Like, that's also pretty long. So, like, hopefully, like, the action is good for all the matches, but we'll have to see. Like, 15 minutes for the top level guy, yeah, but for some of these guys that are maybe in their first fights on the big stage and all, it might be a little bit much. But like I said, I'm very interested. I'm gonna keep watching it.
I can see it getting pretty boring if a guy feels like he's won the first 2 rounds cleanly, and then in the third round, like, he's just stalling. Because what's the point, We'll see. I don't love the like 5-minute rounds seems a little short. I'd like a 10 and a 5. Like 10 minutes, figure it out, and then extra one. But I'd like that for MMA too. Pride rules, 10-minute round and then a 5-minute extra round. I think that's good. All right, MMA. We've got this weekend UFC in Azerbaijan, in Baku. It's UFC Baku. How about that? Azerbaijan. First time the UFC goes to Azerbaijan. Where is Azerbaijan? What is Azerbaijan?
Close to Russia.
Know. Is it near Russia? Near
I
Georgia?
don't know.
It is. I mean, it's not that far from Russia. It's
Right next to Armenia and Georgia.
Does it border? It does not
Oh, it's
border
pretty big.
Russia. It borders
Pretty big,
Armenia,
actually.
Georgia, and Iran. Oh, it's not that far from Tehran. If you're a UFC fighter, do you want to be anywhere near Iran right now? Seems like a shady, like, damn, man. Oh, where are we going? Azerbaijan. Oh, where is that on the map? Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. It's fine. Cool. Azerbaijan borders Iran. Do you want to border Iran right now? Don't know. It also borders, does it border Turkey, technically? No, that's not Turkey. That's Armenia. It borders Armenia. And it's in the Caspian Sea. Baku. Right on the sea. Probably beautiful.
I mean, F1 goes there, so.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'm just saying. I was just looking at the bordering countries. I was like, Georgia, Armenia, Iran. Is that good now? Is that safe these days? And I was like, wait a second, isn't there something going on over there? What's happening? I'm not really following. I heard something. I heard some rumblings about something going on. I don't know. Who knows? Fred told me it was all made up, so
Something
it's all
might
fake,
have
right?
happened.
Nothing's happening?
But I mean, look,
It's all
like,
AI?
like they're north of Iran,
Yeah.
and Iran has a conflict more with people to the west of them. So I think Azerbaijan is safe.
To the west. I guess it's to the west. I mean, it's... Yeah. Technically. Anyways, Azerbaijan's probably going to be fine. Jamal Hill will be fine unless, he runs into Khalil Rountree's fists. Jamal Hill, Khalil Rountree, main event this weekend in Azerbaijan. It's a pretty good light heavyweight fight.
I like
Jamal
it.
Hill, former champion.
You see, Jamal Hill, it took me time to believe in him. Once I started believing in him, he started losing more. So right now, I'm gonna pick Jamal Hill for that fight, but my confidence index is not that high. The main reason is, like, I look at who Khalil Rountree beat, and I don't see that many impressive wins. Like, Anthony Smith maybe, but other than that, I feel he's had like a pretty easy list of fighters he fought. So I'm gonna go with Jamal Hill, who's a former champ, who's defeated some big names in this sport. So Jamal Hill, decision, TKO. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go with a TKO. He finds a way to finish Khalil Rountree.
Yeah. I don't trust Jamal Hill.
Me neither.
I just don't trust him. He's lost 2 in a row to Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska, both by knockout. He talked
Both
a
much
lot.
better than Khalil Rountree, I would say.
Oh, they're both better than Khalil Rountree. But Khalil is coming off a TKO loss to Alex Pereira, and I remember him doing pretty good in that fight. He lost in the 4th round. Like, he had his moments. Like, he held his own there against Pereira. He looked better than Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill got smoked.
He took a good beating, I would say.
Didn't he win a round?
Maybe, yeah.
I feel like he won a round. He made it closer than we expected. I don't know. I don't trust Jamal Hill. I'm going with Khalil Rountree in the main event. Jamal Hill seems like salty as hell. You see, he got asked a question where he was like, they're like, how does losing to Yuri and Pereira affect you in this fight? And he's like, what kind of dumb question is that? What do you mean? Stupid question. I was like, well, it's kind of one of the questions that you'd get. It's like, I mean, the way the guy phrased it wasn't great, but, I understood what he meant.
He does seem on the defensive always, and yeah.
He does not seem secure in his interviews. He seems very insecure, and that's not good.
Well, maybe it's because of people like me who didn't believe in him until he became a champion. Like, I used to doubt him always. I'm like, I don't know. He kind of looks a little chubby. He doesn't look that in shape and all, man. And then he became a champ, so I had to respect him.
How did he become a champ again?
Who did he defeat? Glover? Was it Glover?
Yeah. Glover was like...
that was a good fight.
Pretty old, though, at that point.
Yeah, you're right.
And then he quickly got hurt and then came back and lost 2 straight. I don't know. I'm not sold on Jamal Hill. Who has he really beat? You're talking about the resume of Khalil. Like, what's the resume of Jamal Hill? Johnny Walker? A broke-down Thiago Santos?
Glover.
Yeah, Glover, who... Wasn't that Glover's last fight ever? Because he was super old and done? It was. And he was like 43 years old. Coming off a loss. Wasn't he? Yeah, coming off a loss to Yuri. A war with Yuri. Jamal Hill picked the bones. And he got a title. I don't know, man. Reevaluate. I'm telling you. Reevaluate. Look at the resume. Like, we got to really examine the resume of Jamal Hill. I don't think it's that good. I think Khalil's might be a little bit better. It's not great. But Dustin Jacoby is game. You know what I mean? Like, there's some... Modestas Bukauskas is not so bad. Modestas Bukauskas has won 7 of his last 8 in the UFC. Since losing to Khalil.
You might be onto something. I'm still going to stick with Jamal. Like, I started by saying my confidence index was, like, very low because, I'm up and down on Jamal, but I'm going to stick with him, man.
Well, odds makers are pretty torn on it like we are. It's minus 120 Rountree, minus 110 Hill. Basically a pick'em. So, depending on how you feel, depending on who you're going to trust this weekend, either Dave or Fred, those are your picks, Hill or Rountree. I got Rountree. Freddie going with Hill. Other fights on this card, we have Rafael Fiziev, who's from Kazakhstan, but also he's like from Azerbaijan. His father was from Azerbaijan. So he's like represents Azerbaijan. So fighting here is going to be a big deal for the Fiz. Fiz has lost 3 straight. 2 to Justin Gaethje, 1 to Mateusz Gamrot. Took that fight against Gaethje on short notice. Fizzy back here against Ignacio Bahamondes in Azerbaijan. Big fight for the Fiz. Bahamondes has won 3 in a row, while the Fiz has lost 3 in a row. Rafael Fiziev, plus 105 the dog. Bahamondes, minus 135 the favorite. I think the power of home is going to help the Fiz. Fiziev looked pretty good against Gaethje in his last fight. Like, for taking it on short notice, he came out there and he was, he went to war. He is a dog of a man. Very tough. 12-1 before running into Gaethje. Losses to Gaethje, Gamrot, and then Gaethje again on this 2-year stretch. But before that, big wins against Bobby Green, Renato Moicano, and Rafael Dos Anjos. Bahamondes. I think this is a step up in competition for the 27-year-old out of Chicago. Born in Chile, fights out of Chicago. I think he might be one of Bilal's training partners. Right?
Yeah.
And usually when the captain of the gym falls, a lot of the guys in the gym fall too. Belal fell. I think Bahamondes will fall. I'm going with Fizzy.
I tend to agree with you. I think, again, it's a tight fight. It could go either way, but Fiziev did look decent against Justin Gaethje, even though he lost. But, yeah, Fizzy at home, crowd behind him. Makes sense, man. Fizzy by decision.
Curtis Blaydes on this card, taking on Rizvan Kuniyev. Rizvan 13-2-1 out of Russia. Big heavyweight coming off the Dana White Contender Series. This will be his UFC debut. UFC debut against Curtis Blaydes. Blaydes coming in minus 260, the favorite. Kuniyev plus 195, the dog. Interesting welcome to the UFC. Blaydes coming off a knockout loss to Tom Aspinall in his last fight for an interim title. And now he's fighting a guy who's making his debut in the UFC. It's kind of weird, isn't it? For Blaydes to be fighting Tom Aspinall in your last fight, and now you're fighting some guy off the Dana White Contender Series, third from main event in Azerbaijan. Okay. Blaydes always has weird fights, man. Blaydes has had a weird career.
Trying to see if there was another fight before announced for him, but no, it seemed that was the fight they announced.
I think they were trying to make this fight a couple times.
Yeah, it seems.
Yeah, it's been canceled twice. This is the third attempt at making this fight against Rizvan Kuniyev. Like, this has been the opponent. It's not like they needed a Blaydes fight and they had Rizvan, so they did it here. They've been wanting to make Blaydes Rizvan for some reason.
I mean, like, if you're going to put a newcomer against Blaydes, you better, like, I would imagine you have some confidence in him. Like, why would you just throw a newcomer to the wolves right away? Because Blaydes is still like a top 5 heavyweight right now. So I guess the guy is up for the challenge, the UFC thinks. I'm still going to pick Blaydes. I don't know his opponent, so Blaydes is the smart choice by decision.
Yeah, I'm going with Blaydes too. Although Blaydes is inconsistent. Sometimes he looks like the best heavyweight in the UFC, and sometimes he looks like one of the worst. It's weird. You know, like, take the Derek Lewis fight, for example. He was completely controlling Derek Lewis, out-wrestling him, just dominating him. And then he got punched in the face one time and just went to sleep.
It could happen.
Yeah, his chin isn't great either. He gets cracked. But then he beat, like, Jailton Almeida, who hits like a truck. But before that, came off a loss to Sergey Pavlovich by knockout. He's hard to figure out. I'm going to go with Blaydes. But, yeah, I wouldn't put him in a parlay. Should we do parlays? Do you want to do a parlay?
I mean, I got a simple parlay. Jamal Hill and Fiziev.
Hill and the Fizz. I like it. I like the Fizz part. There's a Team Fred parlay. 20 gets you something. Some money. 20 will get you 78.27 over at bet99.com. Fizzy and Jamal Hill. That's a Team Fred parlay. Solid. Solid 2 fights. What am I going to give you? I'm going to give you... I'm going to keep it fun here. Let's go with... I'm going to go with Fizzy as well. And I'm going to go with Khalil. And... Ooh, Muhammad Usman is on this card? Kamaru's brother. Big Muhammad Usman. Coming off 2 losses, though. He's the underdog. I don't like that. The guy he's fighting is 4-0. Hamdi Abdelwahab, fighting out of Egypt.
That Tagir guy was good. Like he's
Ulanbekov.
he's 5-1 in the UFC. He's a decent fighter.
Yeah.
I don't know his opponent though.
Azat Maksum. A lot of guys from that area. Azat Maksum is from Kazakhstan. Oh, watch out for the Kazakhstan dudes. You've got, the names on this card are a lot of fun. You've got Mikitbek Orolbay taking on Tofik Musayev. Mikitbek is from Kyrgyzstan, and Tofik Musayev is from Azerbaijan. Tofik from Azerbaijan. Nazim Sadikov, also from Azerbaijan, fighting on this card. Muhammad Naimov, fighting out of Tajikistan. Bogdan Grad, his opponent, fighting out of Austria. Just all over the map, literally. But mostly, Eastern European map. And some Middle East. You got Egypt in there. You got Azerbaijan. You've got Kyrgyzstan. Tajikistan. Did I say Tajikistan? Who was from Tajikistan? Was that Muhammad Naimov? No, he was... Yeah, Tajikistan. Could he be the first Tajikistan fighter in the UFC? Muhammad Naimov? Don't know. Haven't really followed their history. Okay, I'll give you a parlay. It'll be 2 fights. It'll be real dumb and simple. Following Fred's thing, but changing it slightly for Khalil Rountree. Fizzy and Rountree. Fred gave you Fizzy and Jamal Hill. I'm going to give you Fizzy and Rountree. 20 will get you 75 over at bet99.com. How about that? Freddie, you did it. We did it. Without AJ. Somehow.
So if you see AJ with a fake mustache at the strip joint, don't bother him.
Yeah. That's what he's doing. He's looking like Tom Selleck at a strip club right now. Looking like Julian Tom Selleck right now. So he is living it up and abandoning us, as he does all the time. I'll be back tomorrow without Johnny North because he's abandoning me too. Everybody's abandoning me this week, Fred. It's okay. My brother will be here. We'll have a good time. Whatever, Johnny. The Yankees finally won today. Finally.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Fred, they had lost 6 in a row. They got swept by Boston and had lost 3 out of 4 to the Angels. And now today, this afternoon, they finally won a 7-3 final. They had not been hitting. It's been bad. Huh?
Are they still in first?
Yes. Thankfully, barely still in first place. Let's see if the Red Sox are playing. They are not. Too bad. I wanted to make fun of Johnny if they were losing. Yankees are 2 games up right now in the AL East over the Rays. Rays in second place. Blue Jays 3 games back in third. Red Sox 5 games back in fourth. And the Orioles 11.5 back of the division-leading New York Yankees. So the Yanks still in the lead, but losing 6 in a row is not going to make anything better. It's going to make everybody in Yankee world panic.
The guys that own the Dodgers just bought the Lakers. They're
Yeah.
full of money.
Yeah, good. Maybe they can start spending money on the Lakers and stop spending so much damn money on the Dodgers.
NBA has a salary cap, so
That sucks. But, like, you figure if they own both teams, like, how much money can one dude have? Like, what's going on, man?
$10 billion.
Dodgers are crazy. They're so rich and powerful and good. It's just annoying. But I'm also envious. I'm like, I look at their team, I'm like, jeez, this is some baseball team. They got everything. I hate them for it. I also really hope the Yankees make the World Series again. Just somebody in the National League eliminates the Dodgers so we don't have to play the Dodgers. I think if we play the Dodgers, we'll definitely lose. But if we played another team, we'd have a better shot. The Dodgers are just disgustingly good. Give me the Mets. Give me the Mets in the World Series. I think we'll be all right. Stick it to Soto. Watch Soto cry. That'd be nice. All right. I can dream. I'm just dreaming right now. I'm dreaming of a Yankees World Series win. It would be the best thing. I could not ask for anything more in 2025 than the Yankees winning the World Series. My goodness. All right. I'll be back tomorrow to talk pro wrestling. We'll talk about all the wrestling things and more. There's all sorts of things going on in the wrestling. Goldberg came back this week, Fred. I know you're excited about that. Goldberg. Yeah.
3-minute match.
Yeah, it'll be like 2 minutes. Hopefully he loses to Gunther. On Saturday night's main event in mid-July. We'll talk about that and more. What?
Let's finish on this. You saw the meme pass where they go WWE couldn't resist. They had to book a Jewish guy versus like Eastern European that looks almost like a Nazi.
Yeah.
They had Gunther, like good old WWE. That's how they book a match.
Yeah, real old school. Pulling on some real old beefs, It's very vintage pro wrestling. I mean,
is Vince back?
I don't know. There's all sorts of rumors that the WWE's for sale and Vince wants to get back in wrestling. Like, Vince may wind up buying the WWE back. He may buy it back. That would be nuts. Okay. Getting some weird messages showing up. That was weird. All right, we'll talk about that tomorrow night on Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net.